A stablecoin that was supposed to hold its value has collapsed by 99% in a single day. That is the brutal reality facing holders of Balance Coin, known as BLC, on July 22, 2026. The 42DAO project stablecoin has been effectively wiped out following what analysts are already describing as a sophisticated Oracle exploit on the BNB chain, draining close to $915,000 from its Bitcoin-backed vaults. If you held BLC this morning expecting stability, your holdings are now worth next to nothing. This is not a gradual market correction or a slow bleed. This is a near-total collapse, and it happened within hours. Today, we break down exactly what went wrong, how the exploit was executed, and what this means for the wider DeFi ecosystem. Stay with us, because the mechanics of this attack reveal a vulnerability that could threaten any Oracle-dependent protocol operating in the space right now. Before we get into the exploit itself, let us understand what Balance Coin was actually designed to do. BLC was the native stablecoin of the 42DAO protocol, operating on the BNB chain. Like many DeFi stablecoins, it was backed by collateral, specifically Bitcoin reserves held in protocol-controlled vaults. The idea was straightforward: users could deposit Bitcoin as collateral, mint BLC, and hold a stable asset pegged to a fixed value. 42DAO positioned itself as a next-generation decentralized stablecoin protocol, promising the security of Bitcoin backing combined with the flexibility of a programmable stablecoin. The project had attracted a meaningful pool of capital into its vaults, which is precisely what made it an attractive target for bad actors. On paper, the model appeared sound. In practice, as we have seen countless times in DeFi, the devil is always in the implementation details, and one critical weakness brought the entire system down overnight. So how exactly did the attackers pull this off? The answer lies in what is known as an Oracle exploit. In decentralized finance, oracles are the mechanisms that feed real-world price data into smart contracts. When a DeFi protocol needs to know the current price of Bitcoin, it consults an oracle. If an attacker can manipulate what that oracle reports as the price, they can trick the protocol into making decisions based on entirely false data. In the case of 42DAO, the attacker appears to have manipulated the price feed being reported to the protocol's smart contracts on the BNB chain. By injecting artificially skewed price data into the system, the exploit allowed the attacker to borrow against or redeem collateral at a rate far beyond what the actual market value justified. The result was that legitimate value, somewhere between $912,000 and $915,000 worth of assets, was drained from the protocol's Bitcoin vaults before the 42DAO team could mount any effective response. This type of attack is not new to DeFi, but it remains devastatingly effective when protocols fail to implement adequate safeguards against price feed manipulation. Let us talk about what was actually held in those vaults and what their loss means in concrete terms. The Bitcoin-backed vaults of the 42DAO protocol contained user deposits serving as collateral to underpin BLC's value. When users deposited Bitcoin and minted BLC, they were trusting that those vaults would remain secure and that the collateral would always be available to back their stablecoin holdings. On July 22, 2026, that trust was violated. The attacker drained approximately $912,000 to $915,000 worth of assets, wiping out the backing that gave BLC any claim to value. Once the market recognized that the vaults had been emptied, confidence in BLC evaporated instantly. There was no longer any collateral supporting the token's peg. Holders who attempted to sell were met with a market in freefall. Liquidity dried up almost immediately, and BLC's price plummeted from its intended stable value to virtually zero. A 99% collapse, executed in the space of hours, through a single Oracle vulnerability that should have been closed long before today. The immediate impact on BLC holders has been nothing short of catastrophic. Anyone holding Balance Coin as a stable store of value, whether for yield farming, trading pairs, or simply as a safe haven within their DeFi portfolio, has seen their holdings reduced to near worthlessness on July 22, 2026. The psychological and financial damage to the 42DAO community is severe. Beyond individual holders, liquidity providers who had deposited assets into BLC-paired pools on decentralized exchanges have also been badly affected, losing the value of their positions as the token collapsed around them. On the broader BNB Chain ecosystem, the incident has raised fresh questions about the reliability and security of Oracle implementations across multiple live protocols. Trading activity across several BNB Chain DeFi platforms dipped noticeably in the hours following the news, as investors grew cautious about similar vulnerabilities lurking in other projects. This is exactly the kind of event that sends shockwaves well beyond the immediate project affected, eroding confidence across an entire network. Oracle exploits have been one of the most persistent and damaging attack vectors in decentralized finance for several years running. The Balancecoin collapse is the latest in a long line of incidents exploiting the fundamental challenge of feeding accurate, tamper-resistant external data into smart contract systems. Protocols relying on a single price feed, or on oracles that can be manipulated through flash loan attacks or thin liquidity pools, remain acutely vulnerable. Security researchers have long advocated for the use of time-weighted average prices, multiple independent oracle sources, and circuit breakers that pause protocol activity when price data moves beyond expected parameters. The fact that 42DAO appears to have lacked sufficient safeguards of this kind is a reminder that smart contract audits alone are never enough. The entire architecture of how a protocol sources and validates external price data must be rigorously scrutinized before any significant capital is deployed into it. Today's attack is a textbook example of what happens when that scrutiny is absent or insufficient. Where does this leave BLC and the 42DAO project going forward? In practical terms, a 99% collapse is almost impossible to recover from without a complete protocol overhaul, a fresh capital injection, and a rebuilt foundation of community trust. None of those things happen quickly. The 42DAO team will need to communicate transparently with their community about exactly what happened, whether any user funds can be partially recovered, and what concrete steps they intend to take to address the exploit. On-chain forensic analysis of the attack transaction may help trace the stolen funds, and engagement with law enforcement remains a possibility. However, recovery of stolen assets from DeFi exploits of this kind is far from guaranteed, and the history of similar incidents suggests most affected users will not see their money returned. For the broader BNB Chain DeFi space, expect renewed scrutiny of Oracle implementations across multiple protocols in the coming days. Projects with architectures similar to 42DAO would be wise to conduct immediate security reviews rather than wait to become the next headline. The collapse of Balancecoin is a painful but essential lesson for the entire cryptocurrency and DeFi space. A stablecoin is only as stable as the security of the systems underpinning it. When that security fails, as it did today on July 22, 2026, the consequences are immediate and severe. If you are invested in any DeFi protocol, particularly one that relies on collateral vaults and external price feeds, you owe it to yourself to understand how that protocol sources its price data and what protections are in place against manipulation. Do not assume that because a project calls itself secure, or because it has passed a standard smart contract audit, it is actually safe from Oracle-based attacks. The roughly $915,000 exploit that destroyed BLC is a reminder that in decentralized finance, trust must be earned and continuously verified, not simply assumed. Review your holdings, ask hard questions about the Oracle infrastructure behind any protocol you use, and never deploy more capital than you can afford to lose in a single project.